just pray.
Good afternoon. We're glad to have you again at Major Temple Church. This is Pastor Jack. I am elated to be before you once again to preach the Word of God and to give some instructions that hopefully will keep you through the week. Now, I've been teaching about 6 ways your pain has purpose. And how about this? I'm going to conclude this today. So I'm going to do the last 2. And we're speaking from James. I hope you didn't get, exhausted by it, but I really want you to know that pain really, God does not allow us to go through any suffering without a purpose or a goal that He is trying to achieve to get us to fulfill our destiny, to be the best service of God that we can. He's always trying to pull out the best, and the only way that He fully can equip us is that we identify with pain. It's inevitable. It's something that's going to be around us forever. As soon as you come out the womb, you're in pain. They slap you and you're crying. So you're going to deal with pain from the onset of you coming into this world, and you're going to leave through pain. So we're going to go into this and try to conclude it today. And though we're speaking from James, the basis of this, the tent that's covering all of my information from James, the first chapter, my brother, encountered all joy that you fall into various trials. When you fall into various trials, that knowing that the trying of your faith worketh patience, but let patience have its perfect work, that you can be mature, that you can be complete, that you can be not lacking. It's all going to fall under that tent, if you will. But I like to use also Psalms 27 and 13, which says, I would have fainted, I would have despaired, unless I had believed I would see the goodness of the Lord and the land. So this is another, this partners with James, the first chapter, because it's speaking of disparity, it's speaking of pain, it's speaking of lost hope, it's speaking, the writer here, David, is saying that I would have fainted, I would have lost hope, I would have given up, had I not believed. So faith being the precipice upon which all of our victories are worked through, the goodness of the Lord in the land. I have believed it, so I was able to perceive it. So we have talked to you about 4 basic principles of why pain serves its purpose. And I don't want you to get hung up on this thing that the pastor's preaching about pain just so you know about hurt, but to look at the flip side of pain, that pain has its advantages. And since we have to deal with it, since we are born into pain, if you will, and it's a part of our everyday lives, disappointment, heartaches, frustrations, various circumstances, we have to have a way to look at it differently in accordance to the scripture. So we've talked about the first 4. We talked about pain allows you to discover your strength. We talked about pain allows you to experience, how to experience by enduring, how to go through. That pain allows you to, pain gives you, let me back to that. Pain teaches you what pleasure can't teach you. And today we're going to deal with the 5th and the 6th one. And it's also pain matures, but the 5th and the 6th one that I want to pay a lot of attention to is pain gives you, not just teaches you, but it gives you what pleasure can't give you. And that the objective or the purpose of pain being in your life spiritually is that it allows us to see an antidote, how to best respond when you do have pain. What happens? How do you calculate this in your life? What is the course that you must take? Because pain provides your course. In our spiritual life, and to the believer, we wouldn't just be left with pain unless we had some type of roadmap that leads us to our ultimate goal. So the pain gives you what pleasure can't give you, not only teaches you, not only matures you, and not only gives you endurance, and not only allows you to find your own strength, but it gives you the lessons, it teaches you, it gives you the lessons that pleasure never could do it. So how to respond and how to respond for the best results. The cure. There's a cure behind every disappointment that you have. As a believer, there's always going to be a roadmap or hope that allows us to ultimately end up with the right resource, or in the right resources to have the right response from God. So to get everything that you need in life, and I should say to get everything that is purposeful in your life, you are going to have to experience pain. Pain becomes necessary. You truly never really appreciate how pain is an advantage to you, because without pain, we would really never know what hope is all about. So hope is a byproduct of pain. Hope gives us the answer or the antidote. It is pain medicine. It points us to the place where we can go, where we can lose the despair, where we can lose the frustration of our circumstances. So as a believer, it's inexplicable times where pain comes to us from unawares. We have no way of knowing why it's coming or when it's going to come. If we don't have hope, then we remain in painful situations. So Psalms 119, 114 says this. It says, "You are my hiding place and my shield. I hope in your word. Again, this is David. Hope tells you how to simply, not only to survive, but to thrive. It tells you to continue. It tells you that the end is not here. It tells you that there is hope beyond hope. That there is a resource for you. That whatever we are dealing with, you don't have to worry about staying in that predicament. You can move beyond that predicament to hope. But you will never get there unless pain would direct you there. And I told you in the previous sermons that pain is like this calculus. It kind of points. It's a compass. It points you to something else. It directs you, and it doesn't leave you there. If you are a believer, you know that through pain you're going to find some advantage if you just have the faith. All right. Cancer can't defeat you. Your family being broken up can't defeat you. You're losing your job can't. A pandemic can't defeat you. Depression can't defeat you. Problems through drug addiction, it can't be bigger than you are, simply because it's the pain, but because of being a believer and believing in our sovereignty of Christ and the omnipotence of our Savior, we have an option to find. When my heart is overwhelmed, the Bible says, lead me to the rock that's higher. That is hope. That's what directs you from the pain. We don't have to stay where we are. We don't have to let our predicament be bigger than we are. And because of the untimely pain, we have provided, I should say, a roadmap. We have, again, a direction. Pain, it's giving you what pleasure really can't give you, all right? Ironically, the pleasure can be, if you think about it, many times the problems of our pain is the pleasure. If we spend so much, if we have too much pleasure in our life, we never know the necessity of pain. And pain is the thing that kind of keeps us at the feet of Jesus. And we would never know really the need. If we wouldn't have pain, we wouldn't really know the need for God, because we would try to allow pleasure to be our purpose. And we would never find that pain is the thing that directly keeps you at the feet of Jesus. It is the thing that keeps you humble. It is the thing that keeps you prayerful. Pain is the thing that keeps you fasting. It's the thing that keeps you going to church. It's the thing that keeps you praying for one another. It's the thing that you say, Lord, I don't know why I'm dealing with this or why I'm going through this problem. Pain, but hastily I would run to the throne of the Lord. We used to sing an old gospel song, Jesus, I'll never forget what you've done for me. Jesus, I'll never forget how you set me free. Jesus, I'll never forget how you brought me out. Jesus, I'll never forget, no, never. And that's what pain does. Pain reminds you of where you've been and the roadmap of where you can go to eradicate or to remove yourself from this painful circumstances. I remember when I was in college, and you heard the story many times, and I went to school. It was my time to party. It was my time to get out from the religious order of my house. It was time to not deal with all of the church and going to church and having to feel like I needed to be in church because of my father was a pastor, and I went to college, and no sooner as I got to college, I became, you heard the story before, for some reason or other, became depressed. I didn't know what had happened. I was kind of in this abandoned state between life and death. I didn't know if life was worth living. I was just going through, and I just said, I came here expecting to have the best time of my life, and here I am dealing with this thing that I don't know how it came. So I remember the God of my mother and father taught me about, and I just said, well, in all of that so-called foolishness that I was listening to my whole life, maybe I'll give this thing a try, because I was actually grabbing for I was trying to survive what I was dealing with. I said, well, Jesus is really as real as he say he is. Maybe he can help me. You know what brought me to that point? It wasn't pleasure. I was anticipating pleasure, but pleasure didn't bring me that. Pain brought me that. But if pain had not brought me to the feet of Christ, I would have been lost eternally. The devil thought he had me. Because, and if I would have let the devil do what he said he wanted to do in my life and to predict the outcome of my life, he would have defeated me. But it was the pain that brought me, that pleasure never could bring me. I didn't get a chance to party like I was crazy, like it was 1999. I didn't get a chance to go out with my friends and just live a frivolous life and just a life of just partying and hanging out with the boys. And instead, I found myself in church, but it was pain that brought me. And I thank God for that, because if it had not been for the pain in my life, then I would have never been taught the valuable lessons of what pleasure was all about. But pain brought me there. It provided me the lessons that I needed in life to make me become the person that I am now. Y'all got that? I know I kind of rambled on a little bit, but I thank God I would never be, I think about this often in 1973, that if I would never have went through the trial that I was going through, I wouldn't be what I am right now, and I would not have been able to accomplish the things that I accomplished in this life, the children that I have, the jobs that I have, the music, the ministry. I would not be able, wouldn't have had all of these various beautiful events in my life. But because God saw beyond my eyes, He was able to encourage me, to let me know, you don't see what I see you can be. You don't see what I have for you. And I began to look at pain differently, that it gives me what pleasure never can give me. Too much pleasure, I am persuaded, would give me to not think too much about God. And many times, if you think about it, I think about you know what? I play every day. I play music every day, and here's the thing about that. People say, well, "Man, you're out of a job, and you're still playing, and you still you go to church, and you play music every day. Why do you do that? Why don't you just take it easy?" You know what? I don't know. I know that I'm getting older in life. I know that there's a great possibility of me being 66. The pain of forgetting what I didn't know, the pain of somewhat losing what ability that I had, it's there. It's already in the recipe of your age. It's already in the doctrinal points of your age. Your age has a tendency to change life like you never thought it changed before. You have a tendency to forget a little more. So the pain of me losing what I knew in music, I did not want that to happen. The pain of forgetting the music that I knew when I was playing, there was a possibility. So you know what, I get up every day because pain reminds me and it teaches me what pleasure never could. Pain though I'm not getting, any kind of, compensation for it, I do it because pain is teaching me to do it. I get up every morning, my joints hurt. Pain makes me aware that I got to get up and move my limbs because at my age, things will start becoming a little bit more tender, a little bit more softer, a little bit more painful. So I get up and I do what I have to do in order to understand. And what drives me is when I get up and I can barely get out of the chair sometimes, I get up, I put on my clothes, I do my little exercise because pain reminds me of that. Right? You follow where I'm at? So pain is an important tool in life. Pain reminds you that you had too much to eat last night. Pain reminds you that you got to stop doing this before you go to bed. And it reminds you of what pleasure could. Pleasure, I have you doing everything to make you feel good. Make you feel good by not playing music. You just relax now. Don't get up and play music. Pain make you not get up in the morning and go walk at the track. Pain say, well, I can't do it because my knee is hurting. Your knee hurting, your back hurting, your arms, the joints are hurting. Get up and do something. That's what pain does. It warns you. So, if you think because you're old that this is just a part of life, then just agree with it. Then we become complacent. You follow what I'm saying? So, pain, again, in the more spiritual tone, would allow you to not think, pleasure, would allow you to not think too much of God. So pain reminds you. You know what else pain reminds you? Pain reminds you of the necessity to save. And let me say this. Now, I know I'm not getting deep on y'all spiritually, but let me just give you some instances of how pain serves its purpose. And we're going to get into David and the 27th Psalm, the 13th verse. You go get a job, and they give you options when you have a job. And the job on option says you can save until you go put into your 401k. You get stock options. You get some. You can have this. You could put $15 a week on your savings, or $100 a week in your savings, and you think that this is wonderful. So all these options are given to you. But then when you get your check, and you got $25 out of your 401k, You got $15 to the IRA account. You have this taken out for medical benefits, and then you got this for union fees, and then you look at your check. It's painful. It's painful to give that stuff out, but pain teaches you how to save. Pain reminds you of what pleasure can be. Pleasure don't remind you of that from the onset. Pain reminds you or gives you what pleasure never could. You painfully save, you painfully put away, you painfully store up, you painfully hide this money there. You do that because pleasure will tell us, spend it, it's all yours. Don't put nothing in investment. But when you get phase age, I know she'll like it, when you get phase age, then you'll enjoy the fruit of what pain taught you, or what pain gave you as a result of saving. Of course, me also, I'm older than Faye. All right, so, and also pain, it heightens your sensitivity. It heightens your sensitivity of the things that are most important in life. It heightens the value of your sensitivity, your need for your family. And it gives you that heightened sensibility of God, of love, of family. And if you didn't have pain, you would have a void in your life. And if there was, and when there is a void in your life, something is missing. The void in your life can be only compensated by the necessity of pain being in your life to teach you the lessons from the pain that you experience that only painful experience can bring. So it's important that these are the values, these are the assets of pain. Instead of looking at pain as a negative, in the negative context, pain teaches you it gives you so many valuable lessons that you otherwise would not have learned had it not been for the pain in your life. All right? So, here's what I would like to say about how the Bible speaks of various seasons in your life. That there is a time for sowing. There's a time to cry. There's a time to lose. And that would be fine if that's all it was. But the Bible doesn't leave you hanging like that. The Bible lets you know through the pain of sowing, you shall have a season of reaping. Through the pain of rain, you shall have some sunshine. Through the pain of loss, you will have some light. Through the pain of sadness, you will have some joy. God always compensates you through the vessel of pain. He allows you to understand that you will have to go through these things, but that season is a season, and God will not leave you destitute in a season. The hope in God, the hope in salvation, our sovereign hope in his promises is that he will never leave you, he will never forsake you. He will lead you from a point of emptiness to a point of fulfillment, from a point of sadness to a point of joy, from a point of being unhappy to a point of, that's the same thing, being joyful. From being broke to having something in your account. The Lord will always let you know that pain teaches you what to do to move from one season to the next. Okay, so we are able, through the experiences of life, to fill that void that would be missing if we otherwise did not have pain. We're able to fill that void only through the experiences of pain. All right, so that becomes very important. So I would like to summarize this and end this up, because this is the last point I want to make. I hope that y'all didn't get tired of it, but don't give up on pain. Don't look at pain in a negative context. Don't look at pain as being, why me? Oh, why me? Stop crying. Stop looking at your problems and your problems being greater than your answer. If you are a believer, you are a child of God. God is not going to leave you in a place of discontent. God is not going to leave you in a place of disappointment or hurt. God is going to bring you out. You just got, and this is what the 27th Psalm I would like to talk about in just a second. Not only, the last one is, not only does it teach us, not only does it mature us, not only does it give us endurance, not only does it gives us the longevity through long suffering, but what it also does, it provides an antidote. Pain always provides the antidote, and the best antidote, or how to get the best response from God, and what God is looking for from you as a believer. God is looking at your response and your reaction to when you find yourself in difficult situations. God wants to see, how do you respond to the pain that you are enduring that is there for your purpose, that is there for your healing, that is there for your deliverance, that is there to push you into your destiny. So where do you posture your pain? That's the last and final one. Where do you posture your pain? How do you put pain in its right place? Many times we don't hasten to the Lord's throne. What we do is we call up a friend who will tell us what we want to hear, not necessarily what we need to hear. We look up on Facebook, we go to Snapchat, we go to internet, we try to find somebody that agrees with us. We try to find somebody that can make us feel better by telling us what they think we should hear. So this is, and we don't hasten to his throne, because as a believer, as a child of God, take your pain in the attitude that God is God ain't handing out no pain and causing to have pain, but he permits pain. And because he permits pain, what he wants us to respond properly, not be reactive, but be responsive to how we stop using alternative methods, stop trying to find self-help things, stop self-medicating, stop doing the things that all you need to do is just turn your face towards him, lift your eyes towards the hills from whence coming to you. You know all of these things. Stop. You've been through this before. You've been through the trials and tribulations where God has delivered you. Stop looking for, again, other methods. So we want to rid ourselves of this season, if you will, of weeping, of sowing, of sorrow, of loss. And we feel but the Bible doesn't say that. To every season, to every time there's a season, there's a time for God to work the other side of that dichotomy. Guys, from weeping, there will be laughter. From pain, there will be joy. From sowing, there will be reaping. You just got to make it through that season. You just got to make sure that you don't give up, that you got to hang on in there. That's what pain is teaching you. Pain is giving you lessons. Pain is maturing you. Pain is giving you the endurance. Pain is showing you how much, your threshold on how much strength you really have. That's what God don't need to know how much strength you have. You need to know how much strength you have. And that's why God allows you to go through these various temperatures of circumstances, okay? So here we are, in my conclusion. Here we are at Psalms 27. And look at what he says here. When you look at this particular verse, the 27 and 13 verse, I would have fainted, I would have despaired, had I not believed I would have seen the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Now, before we even, that's the 13th verse. Look at what he says in the beginning, because this is how you place this 27th Psalm. He said, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Of whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even my enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though a host should encamp against me, I will not fear. Though war should rise up against me, in this, I will be confident." So think about that. In what will he be confident? He'll be confident in the Lord being not only his light and salvation, but he'll be confident when he finds himself surrounded by wickedness, when he finds himself surrounded by the enemies, when an army encamps against him, when war rises up against him. He's saying he is pre-thinking, he is being presumptuous in how he responds. Remember, this is the guy that slayed his 10,000s and Saul slayed his thousands. This is the guy that killed Goliath. This is a guy that dealt with his circumstances so effectively that he was a man after God's own heart. Why? Because he knew how to categorically put his praise in the place of his opposition, in the place of his pain. He wasn't crying. Remember when the Amalekites captured their camp and took the children and took the husbands and wives, and he came back and the camp was deserted. The enemy came and took all the things, burned down the place. What did he do? He encouraged himself. He didn't go and look to Joe or Paul or somebody else for some strength. What he did was he encouraged himself in the Lord. What he did was he looked through the eyes of faith. He was able to interpret, to be able to see the possibility through beyond the impossibility. He was able to see, his faith was able to, he had the eye of faith to be able to see the possibilities instead of all the things that seemed to be virtually impossible for him to overcome. So you look at this scripture, and he is my light and my salvation. He's talking about, he's predicting there's going to be a problem when a host camp against him, when his enemies camp against him, when they rise up against him. He's saying, this is not only going to happen, but I'm in the middle of it now. And you find him starting off this story, if you will, of victory by putting God in the place where he should be in the midst of our problems. As soon as we find ourselves confronted with some despair, we start howling, we start crying, we start calling up people, we start going through things. The Lord is my light and my salvation. The Lord is the Lord. He is my life. He is my light. He is my life. He is my salvation. He is my light. And this I will not be afraid. I will be confident in this. He starts off by God sticks out his chest and God gets happy. He gets proud when he sees that you put him, you characterize, you identify him as who he is. He is the light. He's my light and my salvation. When you start, now he was saying this when he was surrounded by hardship. He was surrounded by pain. He was surrounded by circumstances. But before he started complaining about his circumstances, he identified who God is. So if you got physical problems, financial problems, mental problems, your family's being torn apart, if you can look towards the hills, lift your eyes towards the hills, if you look at you get the proper perspective, change the lens on your focus, and start thanking God for who he is in your life, in the midst of your drama, in the midst of your pain. When you start putting him in the right place, you're going to find him being more responsive to your needs, and not just responsive, but taking you from your time of sowing to the time of reaping. So God bless you. I just hope you got something out of that. Something out of that. And let me end with this, because you might be saying, well, why am I not talking about the political things that's going on? Just quickly, let me say this, because I want to wrap this up. You know what? Politics is about coming to a time in life, and you agree and you disagree, you argue, you debate, you pull people towards your side, you pull people. That's what we do. That's America. We do that. But then when it's all, look, politics has been around since the beginning of time. Politics was beginning when God told Adam, don't eat, you can eat or don't eat. That's political, right? Think about what God did. God, I often think about God, he appointed kings, he appointed them, he appointed them. But you know what, when God got tired of them, or when they didn't get right, God got rid of them. That's what he did. So there was always a political tone to everything. When Jesus came, Jesus said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar. There was always some political thing. But what politics do is you agree, you disagree, you argue, you argue, you fight, you call each other kind of like things, you say things that you shouldn't say. And this is not just me, I have friends that were on my side, friends that were on my side. We argue, talk, we get in each other's face. That's what we do. That's America. America allows you to do that. But when it's said and done, we gotta beat those swords into plowshares. And this is what we do. This is a time for healing right now. This is a time to get together. This is a time that the battle never stops, but the argument stops, because you know what? The politics is over. You had your say. It's done. So this is what I just want to. Pain allows you to handle so many various aspects of life, of our lifestyle, and I'm just trying to show you that that there is a virtue. I don't know if I want to use that word. There is opportunities through pain. There is progress through pain. But we learn through pain how come to now, let us reason together. This is what the Bible tells us to do. The Bible tells you come to now and reason together. So right now, this is a time for, if you look at, I think what happened in the political arena today, I think some people got what they wanted, some people didn't get what they wanted. That's politics. That's what's all. But you fight for it during that season. Season's over now. Let's come together. Let's bind our forces together and let's move to a better place. I love y'all. I thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for bearing with me through my political discourse. Thank you for, it always has spiritual connotations. Just look at it, eat it up, and be able to make conscious decisions on what to do in your life when you find yourself in difficult circumstances. I love you. God bless you. Have a smile on you.